Imagine holding a chocolate bar in your hand, smooth, sweet, creamy. Something people give as a gift, eat after dinner, or secretly keep hidden in a drawer. But if you traveled back several hundred years and offered that same chocolate bar to someone, they might not even recognize it. Because chocolate was not always a dessert. For most of its history, chocolate was a bitter drink. It was connected to rituals, power, wealth, and some people even believed it could heal the body. So how did a strange, bitter drink from ancient America transform into one of the world's favorite sweets? The story begins with a tree. Deep in the tropical forests of the Americas grows a small tree called cacao. Inside its colorful pods are seeds that would eventually change human history. Today, cacao is mostly associated with candy bars and desserts. But thousands of years ago, the people who first used cacao experienced something completely different. They did not unwrap chocolate, they prepared it. The seeds were fermented, dried, roasted, and ground into a paste. Then they mixed that paste with water and created a dark, bitter drink. No milk chocolate, no candy, no sugar rush. The earliest chocolate was something much closer to a powerful beverage. Ancient civilizations in Mesoamerica valued cacao for reasons that went far beyond taste. The Maya prepared cacao drinks for important ceremonies and gatherings. Chocolate was not an ordinary drink that everyone casually consumed. It was connected with special occasions, wealth, and status. Imagine walking into a Maya gathering. You would not see shelves filled with chocolate bars. You would see carefully prepared cacao drinks being served in important moments. The drink could be mixed with ingredients like chili peppers, vanilla, and other local spices. To modern taste buds, it might seem completely different from the chocolate we know today. But to these civilizations, cacao was something precious. Then, cacao became even more important under the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs valued cacao so highly that cacao beans could be used as a form of currency. Think about that. Something that today can become a snack found in almost any store was once valuable enough to trade. Cacao represented wealth, power, and social status. Spanish accounts described the Aztec ruler Montezuma II consuming cacao drinks, although historians must be careful because many details about Aztec life were recorded by outsiders. But what we do know is that cacao held an important place in Aztec society. It was not a children's treat. It was a luxury, a symbol, a valuable resource. Then everything changed because cacao was about to cross an ocean. When Spanish explorers arrived in the Americas during the 16th century, they encountered cacao. At first, Europeans did not immediately fall in love with it. The bitter flavor was unfamiliar. But Europeans had something that changed chocolate forever: sugar. They began modifying the drink by adding sweetness and other flavors: cinnamon, honey, different spices. Slowly, chocolate became something Europeans enjoyed. And this was the beginning of a transformation. Chocolate was moving away from its original identity. It was becoming something new. In Europe, chocolate also gained another reputation: medicine. For centuries, many people believed foods could affect the body in powerful ways. Doctors and writers discussed chocolate's possible benefits. Some believed it could provide energy, improve digestion, strengthen the body, lift the mood. Now, to be clear, chocolate was not medicine in the modern sense. It was not a prescription created in a laboratory. But during that time period, people often believed certain foods had healing properties, and chocolate was one of those foods. Part of the reason was that cacao itself was mysterious. It came from a distant land, it was expensive, and rare things were often believed to have special powers.
A luxury drink became associated with health. But chocolate's biggest transformation was still ahead, because for thousands of years, chocolate had mostly been a drink. The chocolate bar was a very recent invention, and it happened because of technology. In the 19th century, scientists and manufacturers discovered new ways to process cacao. One major breakthrough came in 1828 when Dutch chemist Conrad van Houten developed a hydraulic press that could separate cocoa butter from cocoa solids. This made it possible to create cocoa powder and changed how chocolate could be produced. Suddenly, chocolate could become smoother, more consistent, easier to manufacture. Then, in 1847, British company J.S. and Fry Sons created one of the first modern chocolate bars by combining cocoa solids, cocoa butter, and sugar. A completely new form of chocolate was born. Chocolate was no longer just something people drank. It became something people could hold, carry, share, buy. Then another invention changed everything again: milk chocolate. In the 1870s, Swiss innovators, including Daniel Pepper and Henri Nestlé, helped develop a smoother chocolate using milk. The result was closer to the chocolate people recognize today: creamier, sweeter, more approachable. A bitter, ancient drink had become a global dessert. But chocolate's transformation also has a darker side, because making chocolate requires cacao, and cacao production became connected to global trade systems that often relied on exploitation. As demand increased, plantations expanded. Colonial powers sought control over cacao production, and many workers, including enslaved people in some historical cacao-producing regions, suffered under these systems. The chocolate enjoyed in wealthy cities was connected to difficult realities far away from the people consuming it. Like many foods that changed the world, chocolate carries both innovation and inequality in its history. So when we look at a modern chocolate bar, we are not just looking at candy. We are looking at thousands of years of human choices. Ancient civilizations transformed cacao into a meaningful drink. Europeans changed its flavor. Scientists changed its structure. Factories changed its availability. Marketing changed its identity. And society turned it into a symbol of comfort, celebration, and love. The chocolate bar was not the beginning of chocolate's story. It was the latest chapter. Because chocolate was once a ceremonial drink, then a luxury, then a medicine, then a mass-produced dessert. The cacao tree never changed as much as we did, and maybe that's the most fascinating part. Foods are not just ingredients, they are reflections of the people who use them. The next time you break off a piece of chocolate, remember what you are really tasting: ancient forests, Maya ceremonies, Aztec markets, Spanish ships, European inventions, factories, farmers, and centuries of human imagination, because every bite has a story.